Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Rest. In this video, I want to go over a build that's going to combine the Spore Warden and Spell Shot, and literally is going to let you rain down arrows on everything. This build is the most fun I've had so far playing this game, and I for sure wanted to share this with you guys so you guys can have the exact same experience. If you want a very fast-paced build where you get up in people's faces with a shotgun or an SMG, this is 100% the build for you, and I cannot wait to show you guys the crazy mechanics behind all of this. But before we jump into it, I do want to say that I am going to be giving away a Tiny Tina's treasure trove over on my Twitter. All you have to do to enter is go to the link that I have in the description, follow everything that the tweet says, and be sure that you're subscribed to the channel. That is all you have to do to enter, and I wish you all the best of luck. Also, these builds are always located in my Discord channel. If you guys would like to download them, link to the Discord will be in the description. If you download the build, enjoy the video, find it helpful in any way, consider subscribing and dropping a like. It really helps me out and our community grow, and it is truly appreciated. All right, so let's just jump right into this build. And as you see, we have a very interesting looking character right here, but our main weapon of choice we're going to be using is the rain of arrows. I'm sure that probably doesn't surprise most of you, but if you don't know what this weapon does, essentially it has like a little area of effect, and when you shoot it, it's going to simply rain down arrows, which is really cool. It's a very cool legendary, and it's actually very good. It's highly slept on, and it works extremely well with this build. Now, I do have an enchant on it. While after active skill ends, increases the damage of your next critical hit by 50%. You can kind of take whatever you want on this. I just have this on here, so whenever you shoot a bunch of arrows, one is bound to crit, and that crit's going to do 50% more damage, which is nice. Now, I do have some other weapons. Liquid cooling is one of the best weapons in the game. This is going to be very good for bossing. You can use this for bossing if you want to, but liquid cooling is going to be better. I do have a Spore Warden, a chant on it. So for 10 seconds after you activate Barrage, your gun ability damage is going to have a 25% chance to cause an explosion, deals 30% of the damage dealt as poison damage. It's very good anoint. It's really good on liquid cooling for bossing. And I also have a live wire right here. So this has an enchant on spell cast. You increase your ability damage. This is okay if you want to actually use your ability a lot. Even if you don't, the gun itself is very good just for ad clearing. And these are going to be your three main weapons. Now, I do have a Masterwork handbow right here that is going to be very handy for this build as well, which I will get to in a second. But going over our other gear, we have a frying pan. This is just good to have a passive damage resist on you. You have a 15% chance to just reflect incoming bullets, which is pretty good for survivability. But the enchantment we have is on action skill start, increases damage up by 20% for 20 seconds. This is a very good enchant with an action skill we're going to be using. But then if we go over to our amulet, we have our sacrificial skeep. So if we ever get below 50% health, we're going to summon a skeep that will instantly heal us, which is very good. Really good for survivability. The spell we're going to be using is the Buffmeister with dark magic, but on our enchantment we have on action skill start increases gun damage about 40% for 10 seconds. Now, my class mod brownie is just one where you get a bunch of different stats. I'm getting a gun crit chance, ability crit chance, area damage, maximum wall capacity, and gun damage. All very good. Then for our rings, I have both rings. When your ward is not full, you gain increased effects by 100%. Both are spell damage. The only other stat that really matters on this is ability crit damage. The other ones are kind of just on there, but the main thing is I'm increasing my spell damage. If you can get gun damage with this build, it will be better. But if you can't, spell damage is still going to be very good for this. Now, finally, to wrap everything up together, we're going to be using our Cursed Wit. Not only for the fact that when your shield's depleted, you get 100% increased damage the closer you are to an enemy and 17% damage reduction. With this one, you're also getting 10% fire rate. But the main thing is our enchant. So, Spore Warden. Whenever you reload, gain a charge of Barrage. You read that correctly. So, Barrage normally has 3 charges, and it has a pretty reasonable cooldown. But the thing is, though, if you just reload your gun, you're already back to 3 charges. This enchantment is insanely busted. It is insanely strong, and it works extremely well with this build. So, as you already kind of saw how this is going to work with the rain of arrows, you have your barrage to shoot arrows, which is cool. They're going to ricochet and do a lot of damage, but you also have your shotgun that's also going to do a lot of damage, and you can just keep spamming this back and forth. Constant arrows everywhere, and you can kind of see how you're going to be able to destroy everything with this. Now, the Masterwork handbow is going to be really good to get your charges back very fast, because it has a very fast reload speed in one shot, so you're just going to always have your charges up if you need them. And then pair with all your enchantments, like on axial start, you increase all your damage dealt by 20%. Then on axial start, you increase your gun damage by 40%. You're getting all your arrows back, and then for whatever gun you're using, you have your more crit damage right here, and then this one you're having even more bossing capability. So what you can do for bossing is sort of like shoot your arrow and then pop your spell, and now your liquid cooling is going to be insanely strong. And if you ever need to reproc more arrows or barrages, just swap back to this. Then you can swap back and you can literally do it all over again. and it makes the boss scene extremely easy with this class. Now, that is pretty much the rundown of the gear and how to use it. You are going to be kind of a glass cannon with this build, but you do have things like Sacrificial Skeep to help you. Even your damage reduction from the Curse Wit and the reflection from the Frying Pan is going to help you too. But just know that you are going to be very, very weak, but you can do a lot of damage. But the main gun I would recommend using is the Rain of Arrows. But now, getting over to the skills, I am taking Spell Shot with Spore Warden. You can honestly pair this whatever you want to. I know a lot of people are doing Berserker right now, but Spore Warden pair with anything. Stab-O-Mancer is going to be very good as well, but I'm specifically using Spell Shot because I think it has some really cool interactions, and that cool interaction is spell weaving. So spell weaving basically means whenever you cast a spell or reload, you're going to get a stack of spell weaving, which increases your spell damage. Since you're going to be reloading all the time to keep getting your arrows back, you're also going to have max spell weaving stack. So you see we're at Tom's 11 right now because of our class mod, and we just constantly stay at max spell weaving stacks, and we can literally just keep shooting these arrows over and over again. Now, to take advantage of that, we're going to be using magic bullets to convert 45% of that spell damage to gun damage, which means our rain of arrows is going to get more gun damage. Then we also have 5 points in prestidigitation, which is getting buffed to 7 with our class mod, which is giving you more reload speed so you can reload faster to keep the spell weaving stacks and your barrage arrows up. Now, also have just warming up right here. This is going to increase your fire rate about 4% with the amount of spell weaving stacks you have. This is very, very good for your liquid cooling for bossing, not so much the rain of arrows because fire rate doesn't matter, but for bossing specifically with liquid cooling, this is insanely strong. Also have 2 points in font of mana just to get down towards the bottom, but this is going to give you a little bit more spell cooldown rate. None of the other stuff matters. You don't want to take mage armor, and you're never going to use a spell to crit, so having more spell cooldown rate is pretty good. But the reason you don't want mage armor is because we're taking glass cannon, because once your shield goes down, you want to keep the curse whip procced at all times, and this skill is going to allow that because this basically makes it so your ward no longer recharges, plus you're getting more spell damage, which means more gun damage with magic bullets. Now, also do have 1 point in hot thread count, which is getting buffed to 2 with our class mod, so you're going to get an additional 6 stacks of spell weaving, which is very, very good because this again means more spell damage, which in return means more gun damage for your rain of arrows. Now, over in the Spore Warden, this is where a lot of your skill points are going to go. You have things like Barrage to easily proc all your enchantments for your damage dealt enchantments, just your pure damage enchantments, stuff like that. Then you're also going to have infinite in barrages with this to keep all your enchantments up at all times. Now, getting into these skills though, I'm taking Eagle Eye to get more gun damage and gun handling. This is very good just to get a little bit more gun damage, and gun handling is always really good on a shotgun. Now, I'm also taking Bullseye, so I'm going to get some more gun critical hit chance. This does also increase your companion critical hit chance, but that's kind of whatever. But having your gun crit chance is going to be very, very good as well because your arrows are just going to crit even more with rain of arrows. Now, I'm also taking 5 points in affinity to increase your ability damage. Now, I'm not only actually using Barrage to proc my enchantments, your Barrage is actually going to do an insane amount of damage, and you actually have to play Barrage like a shotgun more so than a bow. Like, you can kind of shoot it from far away and they ricochet, but the closer you are to an enemy, like, all those arrows are going to hit and ricochet like crazy. So it pairs really well with the rain of arrows since they're both kind of like shotguns, and you're going to be able to just running enemies like crazy. Now, to run enemies faster, I'm going to take in 3 points on Windrunner. So this is a kill skill to gain more movement speed and fire rate. This is also very, very good. Fire rate's good for the liquid cooling for bossing, and the movement speed is good because this is a fast-paced glass cannon style build. You're going to be getting in and out, just almost trying to one-shot everything. Now, I also have 1 point in medicinal mushroom. This is just good if I ever do go down, since you are pretty weak on your health. Your companion can just come res you, which is nice, plus you get a little damage bonus when that happens. Now, I do have 3 points to call it shot, which isn't the most necessary thing, but honestly, with all the other skills, there's really nowhere else to put them. But this is good for bossing. Say if you just want to aim down sight with a liquid cooling, you're going to get more gun damage. They can stack up to 10 times. You get a stack per second, and once you're at 10 stacks, you do a pretty good extra amount of gun damage on top of having that damage resistance, but you're not going to be taking advantage of the skill too much. If you want to go more so into companion routes, you can take things like Thrill the Hunt if you want to, but honestly, I just go with this because I'm not really worried about the companion unless it's resume. Now, I also have Headhunter, so gun damage dealt to critical areas is increased, so 25% of my gun damage whenever I crit an enemy, basically. Very, very good. Then also have Wrath of Nature, which is insanely strong for this build. I cannot stress this enough. So whenever the Fatemaker deals ability damage to an enemy, the affected enemy takes increased damage from all sources for a duration. So whenever you shoot a barrage on an enemy and all the arrows ricochet, all of that's counting as ability damage. So that means all those enemies are taking 54% more damage. So you go up to an enemy and shoot them, everybody's going to take a 54% more damage. All your enchantments are now procced, and you're going to be able to literally destroy everything in the game. Your barrage itself can also kill enemies with this because you're going to have infinite barrages anyway. You can shoot a barrage, shoot another one. and you're going to have arrows literally ricocheting everywhere. Then your rain of arrows is also going to be ricocheting because you have to play the angles. So the Fate Maker's gun critical hits have a chance to ricochet, dealing reduced ability damage to nearby enemies. So now all your bullets have a 35% chance to ricochet, just like your barrage is always ricocheting, and the ability damage is going to be 50% of gun critical hit damage dealt. So basically, you're going to be shooting arrows everywhere with this build, between barrage, between your weapon. You're going to be ricocheting arrows everywhere with this build. You're going to be debuffing enemies everywhere with this build. You're going to be moving fast. You're going to be having insane boss damage with something like liquid cooling and their anoint right here. But then since you are using something like the rain of arrows, you're always going to have max spell weakness axe, which in return means more damage. And you can just kind of see how this is going to be absurd. It is very, very fun. And like I said, it is honestly the most fun I've had making a build so far in this game. But anyway, that's going to do it for me. If you guys do download this build, be sure to let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Is there anything you would change around? Do you like it as it is? I hope you guys do have as much fun with it as I've had with it. When Wonderlands came out, I definitely wanted to make a build like this, and honestly, it lives up to the hype. It is super, super strong. It is super, super fun. And again, I would highly recommend you guys try it. But anyway, that is going to do it all for me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.